Hey guys, how's it going? Strawberry Fresh here, and a bit of a disclaimer. It's sort of a bit of a flicker on the back here on the process in some parts because I restarted this process over and over, probably the entirety of like 4 times from the ground up, because it was actually kind of insane doing this until I got it to this level where I wanted it, which is actually the footage here. There was like previous areas where I just completely deleted the whole thing and just started from scratch because it was like impossible to control until I developed this method that through like other tutorials and other things that I saw and pieced all the broken pieces together into what I have as a result, which worked. So it's pretty insane, but a minor little tale here of just realization of being like an artist is just super hard. It's not just in the sense of trying to make something pretty and creative for the world to enjoy and paint it a better picture than the ugly mess it is, but just having to know so many different things is equally as important. It's like a life of learning, and I've always been this, but just having grown some confidence into myself in the last few months and reigniting age-old passions from when I was younger, this hit me even harder now that I've evolved to just thinking even more so and more refined than when I was younger. For this particular subject, it was my character's face, her features, her eyes, solemnness, personality, what kind of story I want her to go through. But in deeper details than that, it's like, zygomatic cheek structures, eyelid formation structures, irises, the eye details, hairline, forehead. Okay, you got like jugular on the neck, you got trap, shoulder muscles, nasolabial folds, lip structure. Okay, there's all these things that have to know and just have to imagine essentially before I even see it come real, and also understand all those things so that the character can actually be developed in a more defined sense that makes sense to everybody, like a form of realism, visual communication that's heavily important, essentially. Hair growth, layers, formation, curls, chaos, messy versus neatness in the hair, shape, silhouette, overall structure, color formation. Question of, do I see her in fantasy, sci-fi, realistic, stylized, maybe even all of them? What world do I see her in? What world do I already have her imagined in? What length of detail do I want to see her in? Like, how close will the camera come up? Is it necessary to be this detailed? And for most of those questions, it's like, yes. Yes, I aimed at the sun and I'm heading for it, and that's what I want. So it's a lot of work for essentially what is one person. This is insane and pretty intense. But I'm actually quite shocked at myself when I actually finally arrived at some stage where I was like, wow, I can see my character, like, it's there. Like, it's becoming real. So there was a lot of recordings, and I omitted a ton of footage to make sure this video wasn't too long. It's already pretty long these days for what is length, and I omitted a bunch of other evenings that I completely forgot to record because it's just so tired, and it's just working like zombie droning mode through some of the motions. There's pretty much like a lot of steps, and I don't even know if this is the right way to do it, but it turned out to be a result that looked really pleasing, and I was like, okay, you know what, my efforts seem to have paid off to some extent. There's still a lot of refinements that I want to do. This isn't like acceptable to me where it's like, oh, this is final. No, there's a lot of like backwards tracing later, and this video will also help me remember what the process was, considering I'm handling like probably 8 departments worth of different people's works kind of deal, all on my own kind of deal. Like in visual industry or whatever, or digital industry, there's like artists that literally just do hairstyles, but I'm doing hairstyle. I want to know how to manipulate the eye structure material that they have in Unreal Engine, and it's super complex because it looks so realistic and super good, and I really want to diagnose and learn that. There's also the skin, which is already incredibly hard to make realistic looking skin. You can ask any like character artists out there, most of them will be like, making a realistic skin from scratch is hella hard. As well as like same with like eyes looking really realistic is also super hard. But I want to know like how that is built, put together, and I know it's super complex. I dug into it a little bit, and I was just like, damn, if I want to feel like a noob, I just have to look at this stuff. And man, does it put you in your place? Because I was like, damn, this is really complicated. And obviously they have experts, seniors, and architects building those things, and I want to learn from that. So I want to like I said, aiming for the sun and aiming for it at it. But it's pretty intense so far, just reviewing what's going on in my life schedule too. So I have a 6-day work period, essentially managing a Discord community, a guild community, trying to get stuff like this to you guys sooner than this, which I'm disappointed in myself a bit pretty much because I'm not getting this out sooner, and it's been like ages since my last upload. Still checking out like and researching new games to keep a fresh perspective, trying to harness and continue inspecting and checking out high standard titles to keep my own expectations of my own work higher. I watch TV shows that late at night for story building, shows like The Night Sky or Peripheral, or comedy like The Outlaws, juggling Lost Ark raids, playing Nikkei on the phone while learning game dev lessons on the side while editing this video at the same time. And it's like ADHD on rapid fire, but having to remain focused at the same time. It's purely chaos. But really, it's like after sitting down and having this kind of consolidation of all like everything documented lately and putting this video out, I pretty much am concerned about my health actually now. I can't tell the full story if I don't take care of that. So basically, that's on high priority now that I reached this area. My character's realism and integratability. My health is what I'm most concerned about, because if my health goes to shit, I lose time, I lose development time, I lose getting to share this. I haven't even been able to stream because I've been so exhausted lately, and it's just basically like it's super important to also keep check of my health. As much as like I want to keep learning stuff and have this weird addiction and craving to wanting to learn more and just pulling like the craziest potential I could possibly out of myself, and even more so that I don't know about, I need my health to be strong. So that's pretty much going to be placed into rhythm so that I can get the most out of everything. And there's still so much to go through while sculpting this hair and making it. And when I was doing it, even worrying about it when integrating it, going through the settings hell of all kinds, things like physics, collision, what makes flowy hair look realistic against the gelled frozen hair look it had at first. There's still clipping issues with the hair that pierces the head mesh. But I have to accept where it's at currently before refining it further in the future, because like refining it takes like an eternity, and maybe even then I might even refine it faster by having a fresh look at it later on. There were evenings where I was stuck on the hair settings for probably 4 evenings, and that's pretty much like a 3 to 4 hour session for 4 days in a row. And I'm kind of going back and forth, barely like knowing what's going on, pushing micro digits of like 0.001 to like 0.002, adjusting curves by like the 0.001 decimal points, and also like scalar math values on stiffness scales and radiuses. And pretty much that kind of drove me insane a little bit. And then like on the 5th day, I thank my Discord friends because I was raging out on the call. And then I was also like hella excited afterwards because I solved the problem in probably about 10 minutes. So that's what I mean by like the refinement stage could take forever, or sometimes if you just walk away, take fresh air, get like a bit of a fresh perspective, it can be really, really short too. And then suddenly you might just have that eureka moment, and then you know exactly the secret cheat code to getting to your destination essentially. So that's what it was, and it was really exciting. It felt like solving like, I don't know, an incurable disease when I learned it, when I figured it out, and I was like, holy shit, like it's fucking working. And this is like so problematic because even from the sculpting stage here into the integration within the engine, there's like scale settings. It's like at first when I first did it, it was like, oh my god, the hair is like too big. Now it's like the physics is also like in the units and everything is wrong. There's like science involved. It's like gravity units don't work on this. That's like scalar settings don't work on this. I'm like, the units are all wrong. This one's in meters in Blender, and then in Unreal it's like centimeters or something, or the other way around, whichever. And then the axes, it was like, okay, the hair is like pointing this way, but then when I import it in, it's pointing that way. So that means I have to orient it to this way, but then which way is this way? Is this 90 degrees this way or 90 degrees this way? Because there's 3 different axes. But that means I have like 8 tries before like I've tried all permutations. So it's literal axes hell. It's like it's facing sideways, or it's upside down, or it's like right side up. And then finally I found out for my settings anyways, it was like -90 on the X and then -1 on the Z scale. So I actually had to mirror the asset. Oh yeah, so there's a scale too where you can either mirror it one way or this way or this way or this way or this way and this way. So yeah, so I'm kind of describing a little bit of a minor PTSD of going through all that. But these are some of the issues just to get it there essentially. Like sculpting it and it being frozen is one thing, but then having it like actually physics simulated and everything else is like a whole nother like tunnel essentially. But I have to document all this, write it down, or these videos And these videos are themselves for me and for you to see what's going on, because it's a bit of a memory segment for myself where I can relive the moment and remember what I did to return back to the process and pick up where I left off. Physics and collision, binding, interaction, details, performance, accessibility, cinematic and real-time capability, optimization, testing are all things I have to care about. Even though the hair is abundant and thick, there was some thinning involved in every bundle to make sure it wasn't overtly out of the realm of care. Just turning on extra guide density against the hair itself made performance costs go through the roof, but the result was incredibly much smoother hair, looking like a Pantene Pro V commercial, and just struggling with tiny digits over and over like this on the screen here. Understanding every facet of an attribute, how it reacts and works just on one part of the character before going into the next. Knowing how to manipulate all these things and making it playable and real makes it that much more insanely hard, rather than just being a cinematic film asset like I mentioned in the previous videos. As I came to send a review while doing this video and typing some of this out as side notes to this development vlog. Usually there is one person for each department of this task. I'm one person, but if I can get it to somewhere like that, of a one-man army creating crazy stuff like this, I'm going to be super happy and feel pretty fucking awesome. I know back then, 5 to 8 years back then, I was doing something similar anyway with just game assets, being almost like a solo art department. Now I'm doing a personal asset here for both cinematic and real time, but it's going to be tough. It is still, it's going to be tough. And I'm aiming and trying to achieve that like Final Fantasy like level of detail, but and as super nice as this looks, I still don't feel like I'm quite there actually. I still need to figure out clothes, I need to figure out cloth physics, I need to design the costume, I actually have to figure out how to integrate and swap all those pieces out without breaking anything. As well as like binding it to the skeleton, skinning it, and should be pretty compatible because I do understand what the skeleton is for animation and stuff. But then the complexity and advancement of the material shaders and math of how things are with some of the extremes that Unreal provides, as well as technical samples that their seniors and architects built for others to use and diagnose from their tech demos that they provide. It's just a huge amount of encyclopedic like learning. It's like the ultimate difficulty game that is incredibly hard to win. I could always tune down the difficulty settings, but then will I be satisfied? And am I reaching the path to level 999 for myself, or am I just saying it's too hard? Of course, there are days I do fully give up. It's just a passing moment though, and because there's this rage in myself wanting more, wanting the best, wanting to have the ability to make and create something awesome for people to enjoy and elevating everybody else around as well. And so far, I think I've done like a decent job sort of getting there, but I know it's a lot to go through right now, and it's like, this is what I have to show currently. I know it's not too much progress because I can only work on this sort of like late in the evenings, peppered throughout the week, and only on the weekends is when I have time. Other times it's like majority of my time is sunk into work, which is like full-time at one job and part-time on the weekend on the other job. So basically I have a 6-day work week, so it's quite occupied. If I actually got a chance to work on this full time, I think I would be able to push this quite much farther. But this is, I don't know, this has only been like 2 months of like essentially weekends, and even then there's some weekends I didn't do anything. I think there was about 2 weeks where I didn't do anything because I just had to rest, and I just ended up playing games and turning off like the development like mindset for a while to refresh. And sure enough, I got the hair to like the point where it's like super flowy, it's real time. It looks so fucking good. I was actually like falling in love with my character when it happened. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I can see it happening. I can see it happening. I can see it happening. And yeah, it felt really good. And I was like, oh my god, I can't wait until I can make a short cinematic trailer. So I have to build an environment afterwards. I gotta make sure like light settings, camera settings, all those things need to be accommodated for in order to make a good, like, you know, display of some sort of visual short and story that people can at least like enjoy a little bit. It's not going to be very long because I'm one person. It's not like a huge production, but if I can sort of make it look like one, that'd be great. But anyways, that's my character for now. She's quite developed in one area, at least like around the face and the hair was what I was aiming for. It does need a lot of refinements and cleanup though, but this is like a messy, like quick blast in to make sure it works. I can see like part of her in the vision, in my vision anyways, as well as an idea, and also if it's working or breaking or if it's just looking great or whatever. And yeah, to me, I'm like, it's there. It's going to be a lot of refining work, which will change a lot. Just even in this end part here, changing like the lighting settings compared to like the other open basic environment. She looks so much different even though it's the same character. So yeah, there's a lot of work and a lot of things to do to push out like a lot of details. So lighting, camera, and whatever can change her look entirely by a lot. And this is demonstrated pretty much like right here, as well as like just trying to just do like a little bit of blink so that she looks a bit more realistic when I'm just messing around with her hair. I'm pretty sure other people have seen stuff like this similar to Twitch streamers like Code Miko, where she has mocapped or whatever, but I'm keeping this more as like an asset for games because I want to see if I can make some sort of playable with characters at this level of detail without having like FPS stutters or whatever. And I think that would be really brilliant because maybe in some years we'll see super detailed characters like this in live gameplays, and that'd be pretty cool. Anyways, thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. I gotta sleep because I got work tomorrow.